I am Ginger Riddle, and I'm here with Doug Darling, candidate for Leavenworth School Board. Doug, thank you for joining us.
Well, I'm glad I could. So
Well, tell us why
Zoom
you,
doesn't always work.
yes, tell us why you're running for school board and what you hope to accomplish.
Well, I'm just concerned about where the district's headed. Uh, there are people who have private agendas, at least in the local government, in my opinion, that is not necessarily what's best for Leavenworth, or specifically not best for all of Leavenworth's children that go to public schools.
Okay.
And I've have the experience to both in life and on the school board that I think I can uh, figure out if somebody's doing what's right or what's they think will benefit them or the viewpoints that they have. And schools are there to educate all people, all students, all children, not just the ones that you approve of.
Well, it sounds like you've kind of touched on this next one, but maybe you can expand on it. What is your vision for the future of our schools, and how would you help the district adapt to changing community needs, growth, and demographic shifts?
Well, that's one of the things. Leavenworth, in my opinion, is an inner city school district without the inner city. We have a segment of this city that is extremely well off, as evidenced by my own history and those that are connected with the fort in a lot of ways. We also have a segment of this city, and it's a fairly large segment. I think it's 40% of the city has at most a high school degree. That's of the adults. And so that has a dichotomy there of what we do to serve those populations. I go in and volunteer most weeks during the school week, unless I'm, having a hip replacement, which I had last February, or I was supposed to be in there Monday this week, but in a first grade classroom, but the teacher had a death in the family and was out, and she wanted me to be there. She wanted to be there when I showed up the first time, so she could introduce me to her students properly. And with all the confusion at the start of school, and there's massive amounts of confusion, always. Although the uh, Warren is actually on the fifth and sixth grade side, they're taking in cohorts from one of the three elementary schools feeding that building. So all the people from Anthony go to one pod, all the people from David Brewer go to another pod, all the people from Henry Leavenworth go to another pod, which means that teachers only really have to talk to teachers in one building to find out about the past history and how to best interact and motivate those kids to learn versus having them all clumped together,
Hmm,
which I think is a good thing.
okay. Well, when we're making decisions about curriculum and supporting materials, what criteria and process should we use?
Well, the district has a fairly rigorous curriculum selection process, and it is available to the board to review what they're recommending, and that normally comes out about 2 weeks prior to the board meeting when that is selected, and board members can go down there and look at the curriculum. And some people don't take advantage of it and then want to complain about it later. Sorry, you had the opportunity. You chose not to exercise your authority to look at it ahead of time, and you're stuck with it. And things are different in a digital age. I grew up and you grew up, everything was in a book. You'd open up the book and look at there. Now a lot of stuff's online. It's also, you avoid the cost of the printing and you can update faster. And for science materials, it makes a heck of a lot of difference in that regards because science is changing all the time. and also technology for what it does in things like the business curriculum, etc. So, you know, school board members take advantage of what you're given, and the administration will make sure that you're given it. And if you need more time, you can talk among at a board meeting and say, okay, we want to postpone this for another 2 weeks to have it more time to look at it. But don't complain about it if you didn't take advantage of it. And have some vision.
Yeah. Um, how should the district address the needs of students from diverse backgrounds, including those with disabilities or from low-income families?
Unfortunately, in that regard, my experience is 4 years out of date. Uh, they had a poverty education program for the teachers when I left 4 years ago, the board. And I thought it was pretty good because on the scout side of the house, I've dealt with some of the same problems because people living in poverty have different uh, preferences than people coming from more affluent backgrounds, more education backgrounds, and what they think is important and what people that are more well off think are important aren't necessarily the same. And just because it did well for you doesn't mean it does well for them. And uh, KSB, Kansas Association School Board, does a pretty good job of having seminars and instruction on that for uh, school board members if they take advantage of it. Certain people think that the Kansas Association School Board is one step removed from the devil incarnate.
Well, how will you engage with students, parents, teachers, and community members to inform your decisions?
Uh, when asked a question, I'll answer it. I won't sugarcoat it. I won't try to bend my answer to the audience. I will tell them what I thought. I mean, I'm elected. If I get elected, I will be representing the entire community. But they hired me based upon making judgments. I can't go around and, you know, put my finger in the wind and see which way the wind's coming from and trim my votes to where the wind is going. I have to do what I think is the right way to do it. And not everybody will agree with that. And that's okay. All they can do is, cut my pay in half, send me to Leavenworth, and bend my dog tags.
Well, what do you see as the top three challenges that the school district faces, and if you have any comments about how you would address them?
The top one is dealing with the 40% from that group. Last year, when I was helping out a first grade classroom, it's end of April, early May, and you have kids still doing single digit addition and subtraction using their fingers, which means they get absolutely no reinforcement at home, which is one reason why the teacher I work with is more than happy to have me show up and help those kids because, classroom management is a unique skill, one that I don't have, but teachers have to have. And having someone in a small group, 4 or less kids, sit down there and do drills and work with them is a way to help make up for what they're not getting at home. I'm sure some of these kids never get read to at home. Nobody asks about their homework. Nobody does math games with them, etc. So there are lots of people in the community that are willing to help out with that. The Richard Allen Cultural Center is one that does after school coaching, and they do a pretty good job on that. And a lot of retired teachers help out up there, etc. So Uh, that's number one. Uh, as an aside, I would put our top students against the top students anywhere in this country. When you see the number of people that we have going to West Point, getting scholarships. Uh, I'm on the Sons of the American Revolution and Leavenworth Lions Club scholarship committees, and I see these kids coming in, and they're going, "When do they sleep?" They are so involved and so doing everything, and outstanding resorts. But that's an aside. You asked me about working with the kids, and we need to put in additional resources to the teachers, be it aides or whatever. And I know we've got a lot of aides, especially in special ed, but those kids have got to do it. And by moving for budgetary reasons, the kids out of Nettie Hartnett into Warren, it causes a lot more stress on everybody because now that's another very specialized group with lots of specialized needs. But I also understand not wanting to spend a lot of money to rehab a 100-year-old school building. So
Okay.
I think I based talk two. Third one, the teachers are doing a pretty good job at teaching. It's whether or not they're getting the support from the community and from the parents, because I go back to something I've always said, that education is a three-legged stool. You got the parents, who are first of all in charge. Second, you've got the community, which includes the entire school system, not only teachers, administrators, but support staff, which play such an important part in education. And then you've got the kids themselves. And kids are hard to deal with. I like dealing with fifth graders. That's the other class I help out in, because fifth graders don't sugarcoat anything. They will tell you exactly what it is. And if they think you're full of it, they'll tell you. And I like that. Everybody gets too much of those things. And I go in there and help out where I can, where the teachers I work with in fifth grade want me to help out with, and I have a good time with the kids. Now, I admit I have a side agenda there because under Kansas standards, fifth grade is where they teach the American Revolution. And being in the Sons of the American Revolution, I go in there and do a presentation on the Revolutionary War. And with the written permission of the superintendent of schools, and after notifying the local police department, I do take my flintlocks in there. And it's in the kids' eyes when I stick that bayonet on the end of a Brown Bess musket, their eyes get about so big around. And then they get to hold it. It makes a lot of difference. Makes it more real to them. And different kids learn in different ways, and that's another way of helping them learn. So doing a little bit of my part, but it makes it better because I know the kids and they know me, and the education experience goes much better, in my opinion, because of that.
Okay. You've pretty much talked about several experiences and qualifications that might make you well suited to serve on the school board. Is there anything you haven't had a chance to mention that you'd like to?
Now I've got, education is somewhat in my blood. My grandmother was a teacher. My mother was a teacher. My late wife was a teacher. I like teachers, and I understand pretty much what they go through. I was an analyst up on the fort before I retired in 2018, and I can conduct analysis fairly well. And I'm not really worried about slogans or opinions. It's what's facts, what can be documented. And it doesn't matter if that documentation doesn't meet someone else's beliefs, preferences, or prejudices. The facts are the facts. And that's what you make decisions on. and issue guidance. And I also know, as an experienced board member, that my job is not to run the schools. The board has one employee, that's the superintendent, and he hires everybody else to support him. If we're unhappy as a collective board, and it's a collective board, four people or more of the seven people voting to do something, then it pretty much goes. It isn't, I'm going to tell the superintendent what to do because I'm an individual. No, you're not special, especially outside of a board meeting. When I was on the board after I'd retired and going into schools, uh, when I was in the school, I was just another volunteer. I, wasn't anything special. I signed in at the front desk. I passed my volunteer screening just like everybody else has to do, you know. But kids are neat people. They really are. And they will surprise you. And it's incredibly rewarding personally for me to be working with them. So,
Okay. Well,
not on the school board. I've been going in. If I don't get reelected, I'll still be going in. I'm going to continue doing it because it's one of the touchstones is that, you got a duty to provide service to your community as an American citizen. You can't just be taking things. You got to give back as well. And I try to give back in several different ways, and education is one of those ways.
okay. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you for doing this, Ginger.
You're welcome.